Hi class, Mrs. Calvi here. Quick review on dividing by decimals. So this means that your dividend and your divisor will both have decimals. So first thing we want to do is set up the problem. We are taking 3 6/10 and we are dividing by 1 2/10. The first number always goes inside of your division box. All right. So now the one thing we need to know is you can never have a decimal in your divisor to do the division. So we want to get rid of this decimal. And we are going to count scoops, however many scoops it takes us to get to the end of the number. All right. So for this one, it is going to take 1 scoop. And if I move my decimal 1 scoop in my divisor, I must move my decimal 1 scoop in my dividend. So whatever I do in my divisor, I must do in my dividend. So I have to move this one over 1 scoop, and I'm going to bring it right up into my quotient. Because if you don't bring it up right away, you're going to either A, forget to put the decimal in your answer at the end, or you're going to bring up the wrong one if you don't do it right away. Okay, so it needs to be in the correct spot in your quotient. So now I'm looking at this as the number 12, and I'm looking at my dividend as the number 36. So 12 cannot go into 3. It goes in 0 times. But 12 goes into 36 3 times. All right. So 3 times 12 is 36, goes in exactly. So my final answer here is my decimal is at the end. So technically this is just a whole number, and I don't actually need the 0 here. So my final answer would be 3. Okay. My final answer would be 3. Let's try another one. Okay, so here we have 42 3/10, and we're dividing that by 12 hundredths. So first number goes inside of my division box, which is my dividend. Second number is going to be my divisor outside the division box. I need to get rid of this decimal, so I'm going to go 1, 2 scoops to get it to the end. Whatever I do in my divisor, I must do in my dividend. So I went 2 scoops in my divisor to get it to the end. I have to go 2 scoops in my dividend. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So if you noticed, I don't have a number. I don't have anything here. I'm going to put a placeholder of 0 there. All right, I'm going to put a placeholder of 0, and I'm going to bring my decimal right up into my quotient so I don't forget about it. So now I'm looking at my divisor as the number 12, and I'm looking at my dividend as 4,230. All right, so let's go ahead and start solving. 12 goes into 4 0 times. 12 goes into 42 3 times without going over. 12 times 3 is 36. When I go ahead and I subtract these, I'm going to have a 6, drop down my 3. So 12 goes into 63 5 times, and I'm lining everything up. So if you notice, above my 4, I have a 0. Above my 2, I have a 3. Above my 3, I have a 5. And I can actually just move that over so it's a little bit more accurate. Okay? All right, so now 6 times 5 gives me 60. So I'm going to subtract 60. I'm going to be left with 3. I'm going to bring down my 0. So now I'm looking at 12 going into 30. Well, 12 goes into 30 2 times. Goes in 2 times. 2 times 12 is 24. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to be left with 6. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another 0 behind that decimal and bring it down. So now this is 60 down here. So now 12 goes into 60 exactly 5 times. So I'm just going to bring over goes in exactly 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60, so I would subtract 60 down here and get to 0. All right, so my final answer is 352 5/10. That's what this is right here. I do not need the 0 in front. That's not necessary to put as my final answer. Okay? Okay, last problem we're going to do is an evaluate problem. That means to solve. It says 732 thousandths divided by n when n is equal to 6 hundredths. So we're going to plug the 6 hundredths in for n and then just do the division. So now the problem becomes 732 thousandths divided by 6 hundredths. So now you just have to do that problem. First number always goes inside your division box, okay? I'm just going to erase so I have space to do the whole problem. So it became 732 thousandths divided by 6 hundredths. Remember, we do not want a decimal in our divisor. We're going to move it over until we get to the end of the number. So it's going to be 1, 2 scoops here. 1, 2 scoops. Whatever we do in the divisor for scoops, we have to do the same in the dividend. So I have to move over my dividend decimal 2 scoops, bring it straight up into my quotient, into where my answer is. All right? So now I'm looking at this number as 6 and this number as 732. So 6 goes into 0, 0 times. 6 goes into 7 once. 1 times 6 is 6. Left with 1, bring down my 3. 6 goes into 13 2 times without going over. 2 times 6 is 12. Left with 1, bring down my 2. 6 goes into 12 exactly 2 times at 12. And my final answer is 12 and 2 tenths for this one. Okay, that is all for now, and I will talk to you guys soon.